Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I appreciate your time. Thank you for watching. It is 5:59 a.m. here. I'm at SHOT Show 2023 here in Las Vegas. Although it's early here, it's almost 9 o'clock back home, so my body is not adjusted. So if you're in the room behind me and you hear me talking and I wake you up, I apologize, but it is what it is. I gotta work. I wanted to tell you all, I've mentioned this, I've referred to this in the past, of how we win, how we stop this brazen federal government and their weaponized alphabet agencies from trying to disarm the people. How do we absolutely put a stop to it? And I've said a few times in a few of my videos that state rights is the answer. In fact, when I did the video about the ATF dropping the proposed, or the final rule now, for the pistol braces, I said in there to call your state and your federal and state legislators, and I also said call your governors, because the governors can put a stop to it, at least in their state. And we've had a few things over the last couple of years come up. It's called the SAPA, or the Second Amendment Protection Act. Sorry, I'm tired. And one state stepped up in the last couple of days to do just that, to keep the federal government, the ATF, and the Biden crime family out of their state as far as restrictions and infringements. And we're talking about Indiana. Indiana, House Bill 1117 was submitted by Representative Sweet, and what she has put forth is phenomenal. Here's the first page of the House bill, and the synopsis is: the Second Amendment protection provides that certain federal laws that infringe on the right to keep and bear arms are invalid, not recognized, and rejected, and shall not be enforced by Indiana. Specifies penalties and causes of action concerning a political subdivision or law enforcement agency that employs a 1. Law enforcement officer who enforces or attempts to enforce certain provisions or otherwise deprives a citizen of Indiana of particular constitutional rights or privileges, or 2, federal official or person who gives material aid to a federal official who knowingly enforces or attempts to enforce certain laws, and specifies exemptions, makes findings, and defines particular terms. Now, this bill it talks about material aid and support for federal agencies, and what do they mean by material aid and support? Because it sounds kind of vague. It means lodging, communication equipment or services, including social media accounts, facilities, weapons, personnel, transportation, clothing, or other physical assets. One of the exemptions is medication. If somebody needs medication, they're not going to let them shrivel up and die. They'll actually help them. But this is a way to stop the federal government from enforcing federal gun control. This says, in a nutshell, and I'll show you a paragraph here which will describe it better, but no Indiana money, no Indiana cops, no Indiana resources can be used to assist federal agencies enforcing violations of the Second Amendment. It doesn't say that the feds can't come in here, because they can't do that. But what it says is, if the feds come in to do something, the feds do it all by themselves, and we won't even house them, meaning you can't use our jails, you can't use our police departments for lockup facilities, you can't use our sheriff's departments. You are on your own. And some people will be saying, like, oh, they're going to do it anyway. Well, they probably will, but many of you don't understand the sizes of these agencies. There aren't that many ATF agents. In fact, there are many cities in this country that have more police officers than the ATF have nationwide enforcement agents. So there's not a lot of them to go around, which is why that they depend, every federal agency, when they're doing a raid or a warrant, they always depend on the local and state police for manpower, for backup, for logistics, for booking those people who they arrest. And they also talk about the courts in this bill as well. It's really good. Let's jump into section 4. It says a federal act, law, executive order, administrative order, rule, or regulation that infringes on the people's right to keep and bear arms as guaranteed by the Second Amendment of the Constitution of the United States and Article 1, Section 32 of the Constitution of the State of Indiana is invalid in Indiana, shall not be recognized in Indiana, shall be specifically rejected by Indiana, and shall not be enforced by Indiana. Section 6 here says no person or entity, including a public officer or employee of Indiana or a political subdivision of Indiana, has the authority to enforce or attempt to enforce a federal act, law, executive order, administrative order, rule, regulation, statute, or ordinance that infringes on the right to keep and bear arms as described in Section 3 of this chapter. Section 7 says this section applies to a political subdivision or law enforcement agency that employs a law enforcement officer after April 1st of 2023 who, while acting under the color of state or federal law 1, knowingly violates Section 6 of this chapter or otherwise deprives a citizen of Indiana of their rights and privileges as guaranteed by the Second Amendment of the United States Constitution, Article 1, Section 32 of the Constitution of Indiana, and a political subdivision or law enforcement agency described under Section A is liable in action at law or in equity or a proper proceedings for redress to a person injured by the actions taken by a law enforcement official under subsection A and subject to a civil penalty of $50,000 for each violation of subsection A. So a good bill submitted. We've seen a couple states pass these in the past couple of years, and the fact that the Biden administration has attempted to sue those states because they're standing up for state rights and the rights of their citizens under the U.S. Constitution should tell you everything you need to know. This is the way we take the teeth away from the bear that is trying to take away what is ours, that is not given to us by them. These types of laws take a stand against the federal government machine, and I want to see more of them. Now, this bill in Indiana is in committee. If you live in Indiana, you're going to need to be vocal about this to get it passed. I'll put a number here on the screen, as well as the link to the bill in the description below. Call your state reps, your state senators, and tell them that you want House Bill 1117 passed because our rights are not to be trampled on by an overreaching federal government. It's as easy as that. Guys and gals, thank you for your time. I appreciate each and every single one of you more than you know. Going to be a busy week here. I'll try to give you some information. I'll maybe do some shorts, or I'll cover some stuff on my Instagram with some reels. I don't see me producing a lot of long form content about stuff on the floor. I'll keep this channel basically for what it is in Second Amendment news. And if you like Second Amendment news, you love Second Amendment news, you want to keep the federal government at bay, then hit that subscribe button down below, and I'll keep you informed every day about something that happens, whether it's good, bad, ugly, or indifferent, related to our Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms. And remember, it shall not be infringed. I always say be safe, stay vigilant, and carry a gun to keep you, your friends, your family, and your community safe, because that's what it's for, and you have to wonder why they want to take it away so damn bad. Guys and gals, I'll see you on the next one. Take care.